have a question. Hey, Rolf, wanted to ask about how you manage to get people to help subcontract. I know it's mostly friends and family model, but what if all your friends have 5-day or 4-day in-person gigs? Hard to pull them away. So this is a very good question. So basically, if you can't entice them with the promise of a fully remote job, right? Or even multiple fully remote jobs because they want to keep going to their in-person gig, then you can't really force them, right? So the idea is, if you can't convince, like the idea is try to convince them, right? Like even if it's just, even if they just can help you for, or they can help just for a couple of days or something. Like just take anything off your back. Obviously, you have to adjust the compensation, right? Like somebody that would be working, you would subcontract every day. You would pay more than if the guy can only lend you a couple days, a couple hours per day. But the idea is basically that. Now, that's a hard sell for people that are, if they were already working remotely, it's just like, yeah, cool, another job. That's great. But if they're going to the office, they're kind of getting screwed. And so the more kind of like submissive you are to the employer, the less risk you're willing to take. So like, it's like they're going to take even less risks. The other thing is, you could try to convince them to go for it. You could try working something out where they help you after they come back from work, right? Like, because they only need to focus, since they don't have to do meetings, then they don't have to necessarily be available all the time. They just have to complete specific tasks. It might be worth it, right? But again, you don't want to push it. You don't want to force it, right? If it turns out that all your friends can't help you, I'm assuming also that, no, I'm not going to assume that, right? Like, let's say that, yeah, you really went through all your friends list that could potentially do the job, right? Like, that's the other thing. Like, you don't just want anybody. You want people that could potentially do the job, even with some training or with the help of ChatGPT. If you don't, like, if there's just no option, then you jump to the next stage, which is trying to hire strangers, basically, try to hire people from the internet. We can help you with that. So part of the job stacking program is that we actually help you get in touch with people that have been vetted by us that are trustworthy, right? So that you're not, you're still they're still strangers to you, but there's a trust relationship in the middle where basically, we're putting you into contact with people that we vetted, that we know are good, and they're not going to screw you over. It's not random people, like people from the Philippines, whatever, online that you don't know, and that you're going through Fiverr or whatever, right? So, but let's say that then that stage does not work. Like, we can't find anybody, you can't agree on terms. That's another thing. Like, maybe the person's very good, and you personally like each other, but he doesn't like your terms, you don't like his terms. Doesn't work. Then we would take it to the internet at large, and we can also help you with that in the sense of like vetting the new person, like helping you suggest some, identify red flags, and from the service that you're going to use or the person specifically. But other than that, yeah, you can't, and you have to move on from the friends and family approach if it's just impossible, right? Like, I talk about it on the guides on how to subcontract your jobs, which you can see them on you can read them on the community, on the steps. They're like on the very last step, the last set of guides that we have, because it's like when you're subcontracting, it's like you're at the last, you're at the biggest last stage of job stacking, which is like you have. You're planning on like having a bunch of jobs, right? And you're just getting basically like that's the phase where you are transforming employment into a business, right? So like when like you can think of job stacking or this program, right? Like what we're offering, right? Like the package itself in a nutshell is basically you're going to transform employment into a business, right? And so you start out by first getting a remote job, right? Like if you don't have one, if you already have one, then you start by getting the second one. Then you get used to that. You see what the pitfalls are. You see how to negotiate more time off. How you get your courage up. Basically, you get your courage up with employers on how to actually talk to them, how to handle conflicts, how to handle tight deadlines, right? Then when you start moving past 2 jobs, that's when you are creating basically your own business, but you are creating it with employment breaks, right? Like instead of like trying to get, which I mean, we do call them clients, right? Like the employers or the jobs, we call them clients, but they're not clients in the traditional sense, right? So you are, the last stage is when you have this subcontracting machine where you're basically only going to meetings, right? Like you're not doing any work that's like actual work, right? Like if you're a coder, you're not coding. If you are like I don't know, if you are what do you call it? Like an administrator, you're an accountant. You're just supervising work and getting data and strategizing. You are not actually like doing things with numbers, right? Like you are basically running a business. You become the president of your own business, right? Of your own company. That's like the last stage, right? So job stacking is basically how to build a business like a machine. That's a business that makes you money with the bricks of employment, right? Like in the system of employment, right? So that's the big revolutionary concept of job stacking. So once again, I'm rambling. The point is that there are 3 stages to subcontracting, right? The first stage is getting friends and family involved, because that way the money doesn't go to strangers. And also there's a trust relationship there that makes it a lot easier to coordinate work, right? Like to basically trust reduces the cost of transactions. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So that's why my unique take on this stuff of like subcontract your job out is subcontract it to your friends and your family first if you can. If you cannot, right? Like if for whatever reason you don't have friends and family, your friends and family do not want to do it, can't do it, right? Like there are many reasons. Then you move on to stage number 2, which is mediated trust, which is you come to us and we try to get you somebody within the program, within the job stacking or my sphere, or within the program's sphere, that is somebody that we've vetted and we know they're good and we know they're compatible with what you need to do, and then you get in touch. If that fails, then you just have to go to the internet and request help from strangers. There's a follow-up. Sorry. All right. Is there a rough feel on how many jobs the average job stacker can handle without subcontract assist? I know it varies by companies, but I'd like to know if 3 jobs is on average reasonable or not. Yes. So I talk about this. 3 jobs is almost like the sweet spot, or is going to be the sweet spot for most people, where you are still, you're job stacking, you have 3 jobs, but you're not going crazy. You're not going insane with the amount of work that you have to do, or with more importantly, the amount of meetings, because meetings just fry your brain. Meetings have like let me add another slide to my presentation here. Very proud of this image. I thought about it, like I saw it in my brain, I saw it in my head, and like, oh, this is like what images are like. This is what meetings are like. I had the designer, like, believe it or not, it went through several iterations, me explaining to the designer what the idea was. But basically, meetings, and this is a big failure of employers, by the way. This is something that they always fail to take into account, which is that meetings have a blast radius. Meetings are not just like the nominal or the formal amount of time that's scheduled. All meetings, all calls, this call has a blast radius. You need to, especially for me, right? Like maybe you guys just join and it's just like a live stream, it's just YouTube, that's fine. But if you had questions or whatever, you wanted to think about it, then yeah, there was a blast radius. When it ends, you are not like, suppose that this meeting, you had to do something else after this call, after this live stream. After this ends, you're not going to do it right away. You're going to take some time. You're going to look at, I don't know, Instagram, whatever. You're going to look at your social media feed. You're going to do something else. You're going to watch a video before you're going to decompress before you do the other thing that you're going to do. So all meetings have a blast radius. They take up time before and after they happen. Okay. Because before you're anxious, you're looking at the clock, like I have to log into this meeting. My name has to show up on the meeting. I have to get my report right. And then the meeting happens, that time is consumed, and then the meeting ends. Nobody nobody on this earth jumps right back to work after that meeting, after the call is done. Like, it does not happen. Everybody just gets up. You get up from your chair, you walk around a little bit. Again, you watch a video, you check social media. All meetings have a blast radius. So what happens when you go past 3 jobs, right? The amount of meetings is so much that your entire calendar gets nuked. Right? Like, your entire workday is just like nuke, 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 and you don't get anything done, right? So what's the fix, right? So it's like, it's either you do tasks or you do meetings, right? So your day can be all meetings if that's all you do. Okay, so you can survive the nuclear holocaust of bomb after bomb after bomb, of call after call after call, if that's all you have to do, right? Like, if after, if one meeting is over and before the next meeting starts, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is show up to that meeting. That's manageable. That's totally fine. But if you have to do things, if you have to complete tasks, complete story points, whatever, like do something, right? Like actual tasks, then the past 3 jobs, when you go beyond 3 jobs, then the amount of meetings actually just, it doesn't let you do anything, right? Like, you just get burnt out, because you also have the added anxiety of the fact that you have to do all this work, right? And that you don't have the energy. And so you end up like almost losing, you could lose the 3 jobs, or you could lose 2, which, by the way, when you're job stacking, or you have like 2 or 3 jobs, when you get fired from one, it's like a relief. It's like, oh, I got more free time. It's not a tragedy. It's like, oh, less meetings, less nukes. So it's like, I'm still surviving the bombs, but they're less. There are fewer, or not less. There are fewer bombs. So this is why I say that 3 jobs is what I have observed for most people on average. They can handle, no problem, and it's sustainable. They can do it for years. But beyond, if you want to scale beyond 3 jobs, either you get really lucky with the jobs and they don't have meetings and you barely have to do anything, all of them, right? Or you need to implement the subcontracting strategy. You don't have to wait until you have 3 jobs to implement the subcontracting strategy. But I find that most, you take a big pay cut if you do, right? So I recommend it if you just want to go through with it, there's not a problem. That's fine. I don't advise necessarily against it. I'm just explaining why some people don't want to subcontract before 3 jobs. But if you want to do it, that's fine. When I advise it is, or directly advise for it is that if your 2 jobs or one of the jobs, or especially if it's the second job, right? Like the most recent job is getting on your nerves. They're too demanding. They're too high expectations. They're high trust, but they're too high expectations. Their expectations of what, like the amount of job that they assign to you is too much, and you're going crazy, then that's when I recommend, like, hey, before you quit, before you get fired for low performance or whatever reason, just try subcontracting it out, and then you'll have more free time. You'll be able to apply to more jobs. If you sign up for the veterans program, once you land the second job, we can help you with the applications, right? And so it just makes life easier. You're not earning as much money if you just work the 2 jobs, obviously, because you have to pay the subcontractor. But it actually allows you to have like more energy to then get the 3rd job, the 4th job. You're gonna be happier, basically. So that's basically the long and short of how many jobs you should have and when to start subcontracting.